Hi everybody, how are you all? Welcome to our Friday Mums Afternoon Chat. Such a strange Friday today, I'll tell you. Hey, I mean, it's something that we're going through, the loss of our Queen. Most of you know I'm English. I was born there, lived there for over 20 years. All my family is still there. And then the rest of the day, it's just like I'm being hit with one thing and the other, and I'm sure we can all experience that. And it's just crazy, and we're only halfway through it. So today's the day where if you were over contracting your core muscles, you might be doing it today as well, okay, on one of those days. So today's session is all about, can you contract your core and pelvic floor muscles too much? Absolutely, you can. So what do we need to look at to get the balance? Because for most of us, we need to improve the strength and function, okay? But how much? What do we need to get that gain? And then what takes it too far? And then what's probably not enough? So we'll have a look at the different stages. First of all, as well, we'll have a look at, I've got a little balloon here to help us understand the core system a little bit better, and then you'll start to realize, if you've not seen this before, how activating your core muscles can put a lot of pressure on a possible diastasis, on your pelvic floor muscles for men and women as well, on the spine and through the vertebra there as well, and on the discs. So it's super important that we get this right and we don't overload this pressure system. So let's just go through. You've got 4 core muscles, that's it. We've got the diaphragm that sits at the top. Let me come here. So diaphragm at the top, turn it around actually. All important. Pelvic floor muscles at the bottom, transverse abdominals that wrap around at the front, and then that wrap around at the back is your multifidus. 2 contract whilst the other 2 relax. So we've got a constant pressure system here, which helps support our torso, supports our internal organs. Now, it should be automatic. We shouldn't need to think about it too much. But unfortunately, things that change the automatic system is pregnancy, poor posture, weak core muscles, sometimes some sports can cause and change how we act with our pelvic floor, our core and pelvic floor muscles. Now, okay, if you've been watching the other videos, we've talked a lot about who needs to contract what. So if you need to be focusing on the transverse, focusing on the pelvic floor, focusing just on the pelvic floor, relaxing the pelvic floor. All right, so we've gone through all that in the last 2 videos. All right, now, how much is too much? What I want you to do now is just let's get an exercise, because many of us can be contracting our abdominals without even realizing it, and especially during pregnancy and times of stress. So what I want you to do now is just kind of place your hands underneath your rib cage onto your abdominals and just feel everything. You can lie down on the floor and do this as well, and just feel everything relaxed. Now what I want you to do is contract your core muscles and see what happens, okay? And then tell me if that's how you think you're trying to hold them throughout the day and throughout your entire exercise sessions, because that's what starts to happen without realizing things. So what we need to be, without realizing things, many of us can be pulling back and pulling in those stomach muscles without realizing it. And what that's going to do is a squeeze and a pressure squeeze. So it's either too much from the top, too much from the sides. Can we see what's happening with that pressure? Can have pressure on the breathing, and we get pressure on the pelvic floor muscles, which can increase leaking. So that's what happens with too much contraction, too long, dominant muscles start to overtake, and before we realize it, our rectus abdominals start to do the job of the core muscles, because they'll take over. Because your pelvic floor muscles, your transverse, they're not endurance muscles. They're not supposed to switch on for long periods. They need to contract and relax. All right, so how much is too much in terms of intensity? Okay, now we only want to contract the core muscles through day-to-day activity and through lots and lots of exercise at about 20%. So it's small contractions. It's never a squeeze tight as if we're trying to stop our flow. It's never, okay, it's never this, because then that's too much. It's just what you can hardly see. Okay, so it's around about, I like to tell mums, it's around about 15 to 20%. So what I do to help mums engage them is say, all right, tense it as much as you can. Now do it half that. Now do it half that again. And now you're kind of getting there, okay? So now we're on about that 20 to 25%. And that's what you need for picking up your kids, picking up weights, doing the majority of strength exercises until around we're getting to around about 20 kgs. And then things start to change and we don't need to worry about that. So what do we need to do if we know we need to strengthen our transverse abdominals and strengthen the pelvic floor muscles? How often do we need to think about it during the day? I would say if you're doing a workout, think about them during most of your strength and rehab exercises. So think about that connection on the exhale. Think about the release and the relax on the inhale. For those who have to work, who finding it hard to connect with the core muscles, either the pelvic floor or transverse, I would say throughout the day, be aware of it. So every time you're lifting something up, every time you kind of open the fridge, okay, go down to make the beds, pick something off the floor, be aware of that connection. So you're putting those extra connections and reps in to help them improve the strength. This should take around about 3 to 6 weeks. Hopefully then you've improved the strength and it starts to become more automatic. When you're doing your strength exercises, you should generally always be thinking about those muscles for support, because that's where your body needs it the most. And that's where I want you to continue to get stronger and adapt through to your training. All right, so how much is too much? Reps and reps, and continuously trying to do hundreds and hundreds of reps a day. Okay, that's mentally fatiguing and core fatiguing. Remember, if we do too much, the wrong muscle groups are going to come in. Cardio exercise. All right, so I know somebody asked about for running, such as the pelvic floor muscles, when they're in aerobic classes such as kickboxing, etc. Do I need to think about? Absolutely not. It's going to be too fatiguing. But what I suggest to women is, and guys as well, is to think about them when you need them the most. So I would say to someone, is that running downhill? So you would think landing, exhale, exhale, or lift up on that impact coming downhill. Mainly you could think about it if you're running uphill and doing 2 steps at a time. In a class, think about it if you want to when you're kicking. So that's when you think about it. So little snippets during cardio exercise is good, and it's great for technique mastering as well with all core exercises. If you're a cyclist, really, really good to help with that strength. You think about your glutes and your core activation when you're up and out of the saddle, but never for too much. And always be aware as well that when we're looking to change posture, that you don't fix and go tight with either the back or with the stomach. That's too much. Try and just move into a better position without thinking of contracting any muscles. All right. Hopefully I've answered everything there for you today. If you've got any questions or comments about connecting with muscle groups, how often, how frequent, I'll also just give you another guide of what we do in the studio and throughout the Birth to Fit Mum program when strengthening, say, your pelvic floors to get them more functional for running. Is I start mums off with a gentle connection, so 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off. So an exhale for 2, inhale for 2. So that's normally fine soon after baby because they're not strong enough to stay switched on for more than a couple of seconds. And it's actually the same with the transverse, okay? So we notice that. Once you've done 2 to 3 weeks of that, we start to exhale. I say go longer. 1, 2, 3, release, 2, 3. So you can build up for around about 4 and 5 seconds. So that helps us to work the endurance fibers of those pelvic floor muscles. All right, but we need to also improve the quick, speedy ones of the muscles as well. So then you want to do some, so little ones, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So again, that starts to work within the different fibers of the pelvic floor muscles, giving you strength, hopefully, and endurance, which helps improve us for all round fitness. And we can do the same with our transverse abdominals as well. All right, everybody, please like and share so lots of people get to see this on Facebook. As we all know, okay, Facebook algorithms are trending downwards at the moment. Okay, it's great information. If you love it, please say so. Please share with your friends and family. Visit the website pregnancyexercise.co.nz. We have just opened the entries for the next No More Mummy Tummy Challenge, the NMMTC, which starts in October, and I can't wait for that. It's actually only about 3.5 weeks away. And then also please use the coupon code postnatal35 for a massive 35% discount off our programs. See you all. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.